Welcome back, and today we are playing out the sussy garbage truck, the Vautour S.O. Now, it is 8.3 and some people have been telling me that this is some of the worst performing stuff that you can play in Araby, at least as a fighter. And you are somewhat correct, however, you are mistaken on one front. It actually has something going for it. Now, it's not a lot, but it does have speed and it does have good retention. Now, it's mainly due to the fact that this thing isn't modeled properly and only one of the elevators actually works. So you are looking at a plane that's essentially flying around with one elevator shut off, which is why this thing is such a truck. It doesn't move and you basically fly this thing like you would fly a train. Now we have the Matra R511s and they're basically only good for two things. It's shooting Tu-4s and other slow bombers. They can actually dodge them if they fly it properly. It's quite hard to do, but they can, just to give you an idea of how shit these missiles are. And the other reason to use them is, well, you can use them to multitask or shoot people that are stalling out. Right there is one of the only examples that the missile will actually have some kind of use. And it's the same thing here with the IL-28. We are medium to high altitude. We can shoot it at him. But we have to be careful that it can actually arc in. So if you have to lead a lot, you're not going to be able to get the missile on target. Secondly, it doesn't have a lot of energy. And shooting it from behind means that you don't really get a lot of range out of it. And you saw it with the Tu-4 at the start as well. It takes forever for the missile to reach its target. These things don't have a lot of range. They don't have a lot of utility even, and most of the time you kind of just end up wasting your missiles. Now I'm still running 3 of them, it's mainly just for showcase purposes, just to show you just how easy it is to dodge these things. Yes, they are radar missiles, but they're so slow, and you know, it's just, he barely did anything and the missile misses, and that's kind of the average experience with them. Now personally, if I wasn't making a video, I would just fly it with 4, maybe 3 of the AA-20 Nords. Now the Nords also aren't super reliable, but you can actually kind of, you know, hit someone in the head on. You can point blank them, because the R511s also take forever to get going. Once you launch them, it takes quite a little bit for them to actually start tracking, and because of that you basically have to always shoot them beyond like 5 kilometers in the head on, and otherwise they're probably just going to be a dud. Really annoying missile. The radar though is pretty damn good, so if those missiles ever get buffed, we might have a little bit of a menace on our hand. And it's the same thing for the elevator. If this thing gets its fully working elevator, it probably won't be that bad, because you still have the air span. And if you're used to the other Vautours where you actually have both your elevators, you know that they're actually not that fat to fly. They actually feel kind of okay, and this one does have the all-flying tail, or rather half of one. How we're going to be playing this thing? It's mainly just flying in and out of the battle, and because it's so fast and you maintain so much energy, because you can't really lose any even if you wanted to, you can basically just do an infinite amount of boom and zoom attacks. And especially at the start of the match, people aren't really going to be looking behind yet, because you kind of just fly over the entire team, you loop back over and you get the 6 of multiple enemies. Now most of the time they are gonna be seeing you, and very often you kind of get caught off guard by like some random dude that had jipped in or who's just side climbing, and if they do see you, if they do start diving on you, your game is essentially over, and at that point you basically can only force yourself to bait as many people to the deck as you can, to at least leave a little bit of impact and try to get as many people as slow as possible. In these down tiers, very strong plane. In the up tiers, it becomes a little bit more sussy. It's really not that fantastic, and it is just kind of painful to play. But again, with a team around, especially if you are squatted, it's not completely terrible. There are some things that you can do, and it's actually, I find it quite a bit of fun. It's not very good, it's very frustrating, as you will see in the game after this one. But in the down tiers or like your own tier games like this one, it can be pretty fun. Now it's also incredibly frustrating if you're fighting people that are actually good at the game. Luckily we have Mr. A4E here, who is trying to flare the keyboard guided missile. Yeah, not really gonna work out, but thank you very much. We then turn around and we find our last victim, the A32A. And for people asking me, no, the A32A Rood Adam that's in the Swedish tech tree is definitely not worth your money. Now here's a little bit of a, yeah, air quotes, carry game. We go straight in. The Saab 105 here is basically AFK. We have the MiG-19 on our left and we do need to be careful of him, but the Saab actually sees my missile and is gonna very easily end up dodging it. The thing is, he's not playing it very well and he ends up just flying into my guns. We take off his wing, and that is going to be kill number 1. MiG-19 is flying off the orbit. We don't have to worry about him for a little bit. He's probably going to bite us in the ass a little bit later, but for now he is just flying to space and he is not really getting anything done. Razor out here shooting north at him. Almost hit him, but he didn't quite do so. And then we turn around and find that the entire team is actually still climbing behind us, and that's actually quite common. You're so fast in that you kind of forget about the fact that the enemy has to climb in, take off, you know, and it takes forever for them to get to you. City is also a little bit of a smaller map, so I turn around a little bit too soon, and now I end up giving my 6 to half the enemy team. Here comes the G91R4, and these planes, if you aren't somewhat prepared, are going to be the bane of your existence. Keep turning. If you try to fly straight and you are too close, that missile will hit you. Drain their balls, try to get some distance, and once you have the distance, you can finally extend out. But if they are about like 900 meters behind you, they shoot a missile at you, you start turning after they fire, you're dead. This thing doesn't have the ability to really outturn those missiles. So try to get your distance by just maintaining a turn. And then in the meantime, blap an F-30 out of the air. That is just completely oblivious because he doesn't have an RWR, nor does he have eyeballs Mark 1 or Mark 2s in his head. And that's why I like the R511s. You shoot them from below, you just kind of wait for them to do that thing. You don't have to guide it in, it doesn't take any brain power. You just kind of keep your nose pointed at them. And if they don't do anything, they die. They are the perfect missile for killing people that aren't really looking around. Now here comes the CL-13, and at this point this was one of my earlier games, so I thought, maybe I will be able to shoot the missile at them. Yeah, you're going to see in a second that is not going to be the case. So I'm going to try to lead it. It's not right here, but you'll see it when I get there. CL-13 pulls in. It's a 13B. Never going to be able to get behind them. So I just keep on flying straight and go for the two guys that are going after the F-100. They're not going super fast, so I might be able to do something here. Key-200 turns a little bit too tight, and so does the MiG-19. Now I need to be careful that I don't turn in front of the Key-200, but I'm still gonna turn to the left here because I'm much faster, and I want to stay on the 6 of the 19. I don't want to turn the other way and give the 19 a free ass shot, because that's the way that I will die instantly. Don't have to pull to get a shot there. Just disengage again. J-29 is also in the area. I'm not gonna be able to go slow whatsoever. As just everything around me here is gonna absolutely kick my shit in on their own, and well, they're not on their own, are they? So they are gonna absolutely destroy me when there is multiple. J-29 dies in from orbit, so I do have to care about him for a little bit, but he breaks off the other direction, and I'm kind of free again to do and decide what I want to do. MiG-19 gets engaged again. He is gonna be running us down, and you can tell by the way he's flying that he definitely wants to go for us. But instead, I'm gonna go for the CL-13. And this is the shot that I meant. Lead the missile, it flies straight forever, it doesn't even get near the same postal code, and neither do the guns. Not able to pull in, that was full elevator. And the MiG-19 is still running me down, because he sees a free kill, and he wants to end me. Now the thing is, he is so busy trying to get me, that the C-Vixen should get a pretty easy kill. The thing is, the C-Vixen doesn't shoot a proper good missile at him, and he's just gonna end up dodging it, and now I'm forced to go defensive, and I'm actually gonna air brake, something you won't see me do very often in this plane, but here I feel like I need to get away from the 19, and I'm trying to get him slow. I need to reverse him around my team, dodge the first volley, dodge the second shot, and now he breaks off and disengages. Fold those flaps back in and get the hell out of here. Point yourself at the enemy, not away from them, and try to get your speed back up. Go for the CL-13, he's petrified of the head-on, as he should be, and the Key-200 is expecting me, so I need to get away from him for a bit. Pick up some speed, try to get the maximum amount of separation. He's a little bit too slow, as well as the fact that those guns are absolutely abysmal now, so we just kind of get away from him, and we have our speed back up. Only 850, but that's enough in this current situation to start disengaging again. Key-200 still on our 6. I do want to turn around for the CL, trying to help out the Swift, but with a Key-200 sticking on my ass like this, I need to take super wide circly lines in order to get, well, away from him. Luckily, that's the only thing this plane can do. Missile comes in, dodge it a little bit, drain it of energy. Not going to be trying to outturn it, because it's useless. There's no reason to do so. And then I see the F-86 come in. Key-200 and the CL are a little bit triggered by it. So I'm going to try to turn around now and put some pressure on them again, because it's a little bit of a 2v1. And I have the energy to contest them right now. So that's what I'm going to try to do here. CL-13 is a lot slower on the deck. Key-200 is also slow, but I'm probably not going to be hitting this guy unless he stalls himself out in front of us. Now luckily he's kind of looking at the lightning, so I have a feeling that I will be able to shoot him down here as long as he doesn't see me last second. And he does, so I'm not able to curve my plane into his flight path. CO13 comes in, I'm just gonna send it here. I might be able to go for him if he turns back in. He does so, but he turns into the wrong direction for me, and I'm not able to get the nose on target again. Again, flip on over, drop back down, and see who is looking kind of juicy. Key to 100 here, looking pretty sus, so I'm gonna dive on him. As it looks like he doesn't have much fuel left, he's going very slow. So I'm just gonna try to reel him in real quick. He's going super slow, we spray a little bit, and we completely disintegrate his little plane. Now, of course, I'm not done just yet, because the CO13 is being engaged by the F-86. So I feel like I need to kind of help him out right now. CO13B is something that I don't want to deal with late game. So if this guy goes into the dogfight, I can kill him. And if he has to dodge me, the F2 might be able to kill him. Just get the shot in, take his plane apart, and we are on our way back to the runway. And here we find our poor little victim, number 5. It's the Saab 105 that's trying to bomb. You can tell how bricky it is, but when you're that low to the ground, you can really only go into one direction. And we just kind of turn his asshole inside out. And then we engage the last guy, and it's the J29. I asked my C-Vixen to go up, because the slower he goes, the more likely I am to hit him with an R511. But the C-Vixen gets clapped as he does that. I'm not sure if he went up because of me, but we are on the clock here, and this plane is extremely bad at getting a kill quickly. You can look at the tickets, it's the city map, so they will be dropping very fast here. And at this point, I just want to end this guy as fast as I can, and he goes head on. Now he actually, you saw the way he committed. I knew that he was going to pull back in. I need to somewhat dodge, but at the same time, if you dodge, you make yourself very vulnerable. But I'm just trying to keep this guy active, engaged on me. I didn't want to die there. If I could kill him in the head on, that's great, but I mainly just look at trying to get this guy slow for a teammate, because I know that I have the energy to fight this guy. I just also know that I lack the maneuverability to actually finish the job, because I can stall this guy out all day long. At the end of the day, if this guy keeps his energy a little bit, I am never gonna be killing him despite the energy discrepancy. You can tell I'm much faster than him. Try to get for the shot here, never gonna get it. So I'm just gonna keep it fast, and we're gonna turn out a little bit. And you can tell that by the time he has his nose on target, we are over a kilometer away. And here comes the F-86, and he's going to help us to end the J29. Now the J29 is of course in a pretty bad position, especially with me holding my energy and playing it vertical. So as long as this F-86 stays alive, we should have a pretty easy time here. I'm going to shoot a missile at him. It's the Nord. I want to get the weight off my plane. And if he doesn't dodge, he dies. And if he does dodge, he puts himself in a worse position. F-86 gets a free angle. No risk of overshooting there, which is fantastic. And now they're in a little bit of a nose-on-nose fight. But the F-86 breaks off because of my presence, which is the correct thing to do here. He gains a little bit of distance. He is faster than him. And this allows me to kind of loop on over again and drop straight back down. And because of that, the J29 is forced to break off again if he doesn't want to give me the shot. And because of that, yet again, he puts himself in a worse position. He's losing energy. And I'm telling the F-86 to just stick on him. Like, he needs to just go aggressive. He's not really at a risk of overshooting. And if he does overshoot, I'm going to be there to follow them up. J29 goes head on for the 5th time. And it's really his main crutch here. He's trying to go head on. And he tried to like transition into going head on with him. Into going head on with me as I was trying to catch him off guard. And, I mean, I noticed it, and I have the speed, so I can just go straight back up. And now we're both behind him. So I'm gonna kind of go to the right here. You can tell that I'm trying to not go for the J29. I'm trying to stagger myself with the F25, so that if the J29 manages to overshoot or reverse the F86, I'm gonna be right there to clean it up. So this time I'm actually gonna be air braking, I'm gonna be zero throttling, and we're gonna be right there in case the J29 reverses the F86. And he does, but because we are going so slow and we are not compressing anymore because of that speed, we get a pretty easy shot on him, as he probably didn't expect us to air brake that hard after trying to maintain our energy for so long. Very nice fight by the J29. He really couldn't have done anything different there. We go head on with the AA-20. We got a kill. We crashed like a minute later, so I'm just gonna cut it out. This is mainly about something else that I found pretty funny. So we did the loop around, we shot someone, we turn around, we are now behind the enemy team. And I'm just gonna be trying to clean up people that are not paying attention or that are low on energy. The F3H here is pretty slow. Sniff said that he didn't crit him. He just kind of ran out of energy. And he's trying to pitch up here. And just before he hits the ground, we managed to get the kill. Now we go head on with the J34, but I didn't notice the F104 pull back in. So we kind of get our asshole turned inside out. And you might notice there's no funny cut here. And that's because, of course, why would I? I actually have something interesting to show you after I didn't really die. I'm technically still alive, as we do on the channel. And we are perfectly lined up with the runway, which is pretty fortunate. MiG-17 on our 6, luckily is not the one with missiles, otherwise we'd be kind of boned right here. And we're gonna try to limp this thing back to base. Now the MiG-17 clearly does want to kill us, but for some reason he just kind of leaves us. I'm not entirely sure why. I'm fine with it though, because this means that we can actually go back and try to land. Now the thing is, we can do a do-over. We only get one shot. I'm not going to be making the other runway, because with one wing this plane just doesn't have enough lift to actually get that far, because it will keep dropping. So we're going to drop the elevator here, or the air brake, so we can actually pull our nose up a little bit with the AOA and perform the smoothest Ryanair landing that is collected on YouTube. We get a little bit of extra damage, but that will buff out. We will repair very quickly. And then we start going head on with the A4E. Now we are going to send a Nord at him, pretty close to the head on. He is also going to try to flare it for some reason. It's of course not going to work out, but there is your issue with the Nords. They are very inconsistent. The first one only gives me a crit. And then Razor comes in here, who's also shooting a Nord at him. And you'll see in a second that he is also going to be hitting him. He is still not dead, and he is going to be airworthy for a little bit longer, or at least for as much as an A4E can be. Of course, if it takes any damage, it's instantly kind of useless. I mean, before it takes damage, it's already not that great. But they're very annoying to actually finish off, because they're very small, and you can basically only shoot the wingtips off, which very often end up in just being a crit. Eventually, he goes down, and we reach the other A4E that we are going to try and kill in the head-on, of course. He doesn't really have the ability to kill us here. I stick it a little bit too long. I'm a little bit sus here. He could have recommitted and shot us. Luckily, he actually dodges and we merge. In the head-on like this, I'm going to have a very easy time killing this guy, because I just have way too much energy. He is a Delta Wing and he might have missiles, but they're nowhere near maneuverable enough to actually pitch in here. So I just need to make sure that I don't fly directly away from him. And at this point, bro is basically stalled out. He's not quite just yet, but I have the energy here to complete this turn very easily, even with the missile still on. So I kind of loop on over. He's going super slow, and all I need to do at this point is just kind of pitch in and kill him. Now luckily he didn't really try to dodge my shot, but I hope it does illustrate that with a lot of energy you don't need to be maneuverable. The issue is that if the enemy also just kind of doesn't take your bait and he just kind of keeps your speed up, there is no way you're ever gonna kill him. Luckily with an A4E, it's a Delta Wing, it will shit away its energy very, very quickly. And because of that, of course, he can't really dodge anymore when he's going 300. And he becomes a pretty easy kill. But if he just kind of ignores me and waits for me to get on his 6 again, and then dodges me, there's just very little I can do. 104 goes head on, and the reason I'm still gonna include this part here is because I'm trying to kill this guy, obviously. And we are gonna have a little bit of a dogfight with the 104. We are somewhat alone for the time being. Of course, Sniff is coming in, I think it is. One of my squad mates. And he's instantly petrified and he's gonna run away in his F104. Where is he going? You guessed it. He's going to the runway in probably the fastest plane till what? Like 13.0, 12.0? Let's say like 11.3-ish. But we are at 9.3. And he got fully down-tiered and he is still gonna try to run to the runway because he's absolutely petrified of a Vautour. And all he really needs to do is what we have been doing the entirety of the game. He can just kind of go up, loop back over, spray us down. And we're gonna shoot a missile at him. It's mainly to kind of scare him and just try to make him turn. If he overcommits on the turn, he might go slow enough to the point where we are actually able to catch him. But of course we are not gonna be able to because it's an F104 and he is way too fast. I'm gonna of course talk shit in chat as we usually do, and this guy is gonna make it back to the runway because, you know, why wouldn't he? He's gonna camp the airfield for a good 1.5 to 2 minutes and then he gets strafed as he has to land. absolutely incredible. Thank you all for watching, and you'll see me in the next one.